I was running numbers on a strip mall conversion in Bakersfield when Lena walked into my home office with that face. You know the one. The face people practice in mirrors before they wreck your life. Soft eyes, apologetic mouth, hands clasped like they're holding something fragile. Daniel, we need to talk. I saved my spreadsheet, closed my laptop, gave her my full attention because that's what you do when someone's about to pull the pin on a grenade and hand it to you with a smile. I've been thinking, she said, settling onto the armchair across from my desk. Not the chair beside me, the one with distance. About us, about where we're going. Okay, I said. I think we need some space, just for a little while, to see how we feel. The words came out smooth, rehearsed, like she'd been practicing them in the car, in the shower, maybe with someone else who'd told her this was the kindest way to do it. A break, I said, not a question. Just temporary, a pause. I need to know if I miss you when you're not around. I looked at her sitting there in her slate gray blazer and designer jeans, hair pulled back in that careless way that took her 20 minutes to perfect. Lena Cross, event marketing coordinator, master of appearances. The woman who could make a corporate fundraiser feel like an exclusive club opening. How long? I asked. I don't know. A week? 2 weeks? However long it takes to be sure. Sure of what? That this is what I want. There it was, the truth hiding inside the permission structure. She didn't need to miss me. She needed to try something else without consequences, without having to call it what it was. All right, I said. Take all the time you need. Her eyes widened slightly. She'd been ready for an argument, for negotiation, for me to fight for us the way men fight in movies, with passionate speeches and promises to change. Really? She said. Really? You're not upset? Would being upset change your mind? She hesitated. No, probably not. Then what's the point? She stood up, smoothing her blazer. Relief washed across her face like sunrise. She'd been so prepared for resistance that my surrender felt like victory. I think this is healthy, she said. Mature. We're being honest with each other. Sure. I'll stay at my mother's place for a while. Give you your space, too. You don't have to do that. No, I think it's better. Cleaner. Cleaner. Like we were a transaction that needed proper accounting. Separate columns, no messy overlap. She kissed my forehead on her way out. The kind of kiss you give a child before bedtime, absent, automatic, already gone. I sat there after she left, listening to her pack upstairs, drawers opening, hangers scraping, the efficient sounds of someone who'd already decided this weeks ago and was just now getting around to the execution. My phone buzzed, a shared expense notification. Lena had paid for something at a restaurant in Santa Monica 3 days ago, a place called Maria, upscale Italian. $247. I'd been in Fresno that day, estimating a warehouse renovation. I opened the calendar app she thought I never checked, found the recurring event she'd added last month. Lunch meeting, VM, every Thursday. Sometimes Tuesdays, too. VM, Victor Malik, Victor Morrison, Victor something. I pulled up her Instagram. Private account now, I noticed. That was new, but her tagged photos were still public. There was a recent one from her coworker's birthday party. Lena in the background, laughing. Some guy's hand on her shoulder. The caption said, Team Hale crushing it. Hale. Victor Hale. I searched him. Found his LinkedIn. Senior sales executive. Media Vault Solutions. Los Angeles based. Went to USC. Liked to post motivational quotes about disruption and excellence. Had that specific kind of handsomeness that came from good lighting and better angles. His Facebook was less curated. There were photos from company events. One from 3 months ago showed him at the same fundraiser where Lena had worked as coordinator. They were in the background of a group shot, standing closer than strangers should. I closed my laptop. Upstairs, Lena zipped her suitcase. Her footsteps moved down the hall, down the stairs. She appeared in my doorway one more time. I'll call you in a few days, she said. To check in. Don't rush. Daniel, I really do care about you. I hope you know that. I know. This isn't about you being not enough. It's about me needing to figure out what I want. I understand. And I did. I understood perfectly. She left. I heard her car start in the driveway. The sound faded down our street, turned left toward the freeway, disappeared into the Tuesday afternoon traffic. I sat in my office for another hour, looking at the numbers on my screen without seeing them. A commercial property estimator learns to recognize patterns. Load-bearing walls, structural weaknesses, the difference between cosmetic damage and foundation problems. I'd been so focused on the property, I'd missed the foundation cracking under my own life. My phone buzzed again. My brother Evan. Beer? He texted. Not tonight. Woman trouble? Something like that. Tomorrow then. My shop. 7 p.m. Evan fixed cars in Inglewood and didn't waste words. If he noticed something was wrong, it was wrong. That evening I made dinner for one. Heated up leftover Thai food. Sat at our dining table that seated 6, but had only ever sat 2. The house felt exactly the same as it had that morning, which somehow made everything worse. Around 9, Lena posted on Instagram a photo of a cocktail at some rooftop bar. Self-Care Saturday came early, with a row of heart emojis. It was Tuesday. The post had been up for 3 minutes and already had 47 likes. I scrolled through them. Victor Hale was number 8. I put my phone down and went to bed in our bedroom that was now just my bedroom. The sheets still smelled like her perfume. I didn't change them. Sleep came in pieces. I kept waking up expecting to hear her breathing beside me, kept reaching across the mattress to find nothing but empty space. At 4 in the morning, I gave up and went downstairs. Made coffee, opened my laptop, started a new spreadsheet, project, timeline, location, home estimator, Daniel Cross. I entered dates going back 3 months, cross-referenced them with Lena's calendar, credit card statements, social media posts. The pattern emerged like water damage spreading through drywall. Every Thursday, sometimes Tuesday, always lunch meetings or client dinners or team drinks. Always on days I was traveling for work. Always charged to her personal card, not the business one. The restaurant in Santa Monica showed up 6 times. There was a hotel bar in Malibu, a wine lounge in Pasadena. Places I'd never been. Places we'd never gone together. I built a map, drew lines, watched the geography of betrayal take shape in cells and columns. The sun came up while I worked. Morning light filtered through the blinds. Somewhere in Los Angeles, Lena was probably still asleep at her mother's condo. Somewhere else, Victor Hale was waking up to check his phone, see her posts, feel whatever it is people feel when they help someone end their relationship without having the courage to leave first. My phone rang at 8. Evan. You good? He said. Fine. You don't sound fine. Lena and I are taking a break. Silence on the line, then, her idea? Yeah. You know what that means? I know. You need me to come over? No, I'm good. Shop's open if you change your mind. He hung up. Evan never pushed. He just waited nearby with tools in case something needed fixing. I showered, dressed, made more coffee. Looked at myself in the bathroom mirror and saw a man who'd been stupid enough to think being dependable meant being valued. Daniel Cross. 34 years old, commercial property estimator, good at math, bad at reading people, expert at calculating structural integrity while his own life collapsed. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone buzzed. Lena. Just checking in, her text said. How are you doing? Fine, I typed back. You? Good. Taking some time to think. This feels right. Glad to hear it. Talk soon? Sure. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally. Thank you for being so understanding. I didn't respond. I spent the rest of Wednesday working. Finished the Bakersfield estimate. Started on a new project in Riverside. Let the numbers fill my head with something other than the systematic documentation of my own replacement. Thursday came. According to Lena's calendar, she had a lunch meeting, VM, scheduled for 1 p.m. I checked her Instagram at 1:30. She'd posted a photo of a salad at an outdoor cafe. Fueling up for afternoon meetings with a sun emoji. The location tag said 3rd Street Promenade. Victor Hale had liked it within minutes. I closed the app and went back to work. That evening, I drove to Evan's shop. Found him under a Honda Civic with his legs sticking out, wrench in hand. Beer's in the fridge, he called without looking. I grabbed 2 bottles from the mini fridge in his office, sat on a metal stool, waited while he finished whatever he was torquing. He rolled out, wiped his hands on a rag, took the beer I offered. She's seeing someone, I said. Figured. You figured? Break is just code for tryout period. Woman wants to test drive the new model without trading in the old one yet. That's cynical. That's realistic. He drank. You know who? Guy named Victor Hale. Works in sales. Looks like he stepped out of a magazine for middle management. You talked to her about it? No. Going to? No. Evan studied me with those mechanic's eyes that saw through bullshit the way they saw through bad brake jobs. What are you going to do? He asked. Nothing yet. But I'm keeping track. He nodded slowly. You need help keeping track? Might? I'm around. We drank in comfortable silence while the radio played classic rock and the sodium lights hummed overhead. Evan's shop was a good place to think. Everything made sense here. Broken things got fixed. Problems had solutions. Causes had effects. The Kata Friday morning, Lena called. Her voice had that bright, artificial quality people use when they are performing contentment. How's your week been? She asked. Busy, working. That's good. That's really good. I'm glad you're staying focused. What about you? Oh, just taking time, seeing friends, thinking about things. Good. Daniel, I want you to know I'm not taking this lightly, this break. I'm really using it to evaluate our relationship. I appreciate that. I think we both deserve to be sure, don't you think? Absolutely. You're being so mature about this. It means a lot. Just want you to be happy. I am. I'm working on it. Happiness is a journey, right? Right. Okay. Well, I should go, but let's talk next week? Sure. She hesitated. Daniel? Yeah? Do you miss me? I looked out my window at the street where we'd lived together for 3 years, where we'd planned to buy a house eventually, where we'd talked about maybe having kids someday when the timing was right. Take all the time you need, I said. She hung up. That afternoon I drove past her mother's condo. Lena's car wasn't there. I didn't stop, didn't slow down, just noted the absence and kept going. Saturday morning, I went to the gym, ran 5 miles on the treadmill, lifted weights until my arms shook, went home and showered and made breakfast and sat at my laptop organizing files I'd been meaning to sort for months. Normal Saturday things, except nothing felt normal anymore. The house was too quiet. The space Lena had occupied wasn't just empty, it was loud with absence. Every room reminded me of what wasn't there. Every silence filled up with memories of conversations we'd never have again. But underneath the grief was something else. Something colder. It sat in my chest like steel rebar, rigid and unmovable. I wasn't sad. I was calculating. Sunday I drove to Santa Monica. Not to follow anyone. Not to spy. Just to see the place where my relationship had ended before I knew it was ending. Maria was on Ocean Avenue, tucked between a boutique and a cycling studio. White tablecloths, small plates, wine list longer than the menu. The kind of place where 2 people could sit close and pretend they were only discussing business. I walked past twice. On the second pass, I noticed the reservation policy posted on the window. Dinner only, no lunch service. But Lena's credit card had charged her for lunch. I sat on a bench across the street and opened my spreadsheet. Cross-referenced dates. The 6 charges from Maria were all listed as lunch transactions, all between noon and 2 p.m. Either the restaurant was lying about their hours or the charges had been relabeled. I called the number on their website. Maria, this is Sophie. Hi, I'm trying to make a reservation for lunch this week. I'm sorry, we only serve dinner. We open at 5. Oh, I thought you did lunch too. No, just dinner, Monday through Saturday. Got it. Thanks. I hung up and stared at my phone. 6 lunch charges at a dinner-only restaurant, which meant the charges weren't from Maria at all. They'd been made somewhere else and manually categorized as lunch at Maria. Why would Lena bother hiding restaurant names on her credit card? Because someone else might see them. A business partner, an accountant, a fiancé. I searched for hotels within walking distance of the places she'd actually been. Found one 3 blocks from the 3rd Street Promenade. The Shoreline Hotel, mid-range, nothing fancy. The kind of place that doesn't ask questions. I didn't drive there, didn't need to. I could see it clearly enough from where I sat. A pattern of careful deception. Lunch meetings that weren't lunches, expenses disguised as something legitimate, an entire parallel timeline running alongside our life together. Monday morning I went to work like nothing had changed. Drove to a property site in Van Nuys, measured rooms, took photos, ran numbers on replacement costs and renovation timelines, talked to contractors about permits and materials. Commercial property estimation is about seeing what's actually there, not what people tell you is there. You check foundations, look behind walls, verify claims against reality. I'd spent years learning how to do that for buildings. I'd never thought to do it for my relationship. That evening, Lena texted, "Missing you today." I stared at the message for a long time before responding. Same. Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from Marissa Quinn, Lena's cousin. Sharp-eyed, sharp-tongued, criminally underestimated by everyone who met her. She worked as a forensic accountant and had the personality of someone who'd spent too much time following money through offshore accounts. "Daniel," she said, "we should talk." "About?" My dear cousin and her temporary insanity. She told you. She didn't have to. I have eyes. I'm fine, Marissa. No, you're not, but you will be. Coffee tomorrow? My treat. I don't need a counseling session. Good, because I'm not offering one. I'm offering information. That got my attention. What kind of information? The kind you probably already suspect but don't want to confirm. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. That place in Silver Lake with the good espresso. She hung up before I could refuse. I showed up at 3, found Marissa at a corner table with 2 espressos already waiting. She looked like Lena's sharper, less polished version. Same bone structure, different edges. Where Lena spent time on appearances, Marissa spent time on being difficult to surprise. Sit, she said. I sat. How long have you known? She asked. About a week. You're calmer than I expected. Being angry won't change anything. True. She pushed 1 espresso toward me. But it might feel good. Maybe later. Victor Hale, she said. Sales executive. Terrible at poker. Good at talking. Better at hiding. They've been seeing each other since November. You knew? I suspected. Confirmed it in December when I saw them at a restaurant downtown. Lena told me it was a business meeting. And? And she said she was figuring things out. That you were stable, but not exciting. That Victor made her feel alive. All the standard justifications people use when they're about to ruin something good because they're bored. I drank my espresso. It was good. Too good for this conversation. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because Lena's my family and I love her, but she's making a mistake. And because you deserve to know you're not crazy. You didn't miss anything. She hid it well. Until she didn't. Until she didn't. Marissa leaned back. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. You're thinking, though. I can see it. You've got that look. What look? The look my clients get when they realize someone's been cooking the books. Quiet, focused, dangerous. I'm not dangerous. No, you're worse. You're patient. We sat there while the cafe filled up with afternoon laptop workers and freelancers performing productivity. Valentine's Day is this week, Marissa said finally. She's going to call you. How do you know? Because that's how this works. She'll take her break, scratch her itch, get nervous about losing her safety net, and come running back. Classic hedging strategy. And then what? That depends on you. She finished her espresso. What do you want to happen? I thought about that. About waking up alone. About spreadsheets full of lies. About Lena's relieved face when I didn't fight for us. About Victor Hale's motivational quotes and perfect angles. I want her to miss me, I said. Really miss me. The way she thinks she's going to, but won't. Marissa smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Then I might have an idea, she said. But you'd have to trust me, and it might make you uncomfortable. I'm already uncomfortable. Fair point. She pulled out her phone. Valentine's Day. Dinner reservation, you and me, somewhere visible, somewhere Lena will definitely hear about. I stared at her. You want to go on a date with me? I want to ruin her Valentine's Day the way she's been ruining your relationship for 3 months. There's a difference. That's cruel. So is what she's doing to you. She's your cousin. And you're a decent guy who doesn't deserve this. Family's important, Daniel. But so is calling people on their garbage. Lena needs to understand that actions have consequences. Right now, she thinks she can have everything. Her safe choice at home, her exciting choice on the side, no risk, no loss. And if we do this, then she learns that breaking someone doesn't mean they stay broken. It means they find other places to go. I should have said no. Should have taken the high road, stayed home, let time sort everything out the way time supposedly does. But I thought about Lena practicing her break speech in mirrors, about Victor's hand on her shoulder, about months of carefully disguised restaurant charges. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Marissa grinned. Thursday, 7 p.m. I'll pick the place. Wear something nice. She left money on the table and walked out, leaving me sitting there with an empty espresso cup and a decision I couldn't unmake. The next 2 days crawled past like wounded animals. I worked, ate, slept, went through all the mechanical motions of someone whose life was still functional. And Wednesday evening, Lena called. Hey, she said. Her voice sounded different, less certain. I've been thinking about you. Yeah? About us? About this break? I think I'm almost ready to talk about things. Take your time. Maybe this weekend? We could meet for coffee, somewhere neutral, just talk things through. Sure. Really? You're okay with that? Of course. Whatever you need. Relief flooded her voice. Thank you, Daniel, for being so patient, so understanding. Not every guy would handle this so well. Just want you to be sure. I am. I'm getting there. There's just this thing tomorrow night I have to go to, and then after that I'll have more clarity. A thing? Work thing. Client appreciation dinner? Media Vault Solutions is hosting. It's required attendance. Media Vault Solutions. Victor Hale's company. Sounds important, I said. Yeah, it is. But after that, we'll talk. This weekend for sure, okay? Okay. I miss you, she said. Then quickly. I'm starting to. Miss you. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. After she hung up, I sat there with the phone in my hand, thinking about how easy it is to lie when you think the person you're lying to will believe anything. Thursday morning, I drove to Evan's shop. You look different, he said, coming out from under a Toyota. Same as always. No, you look like you made a decision. Maybe I did. Good or bad? Don't know yet. He wiped his hands. You need backup tonight? Not that kind of thing. What kind is it? The kind where I find out if I can actually go through with something. Evan studied me for a moment, then nodded. Call me after. At 6 p.m., I showered and dressed in the good suit I kept for client meetings. Dark gray, proper fit, the one that made me look like someone who had their life together. Marissa picked me up at 6:30 in her Mercedes. She wore a green dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. You clean up nice, she said. So do you. I know, that's the point. She drove us to a place called Castaway in Burbank. Hilltop location, city views, the kind of restaurant where you go when you want people to see you. The host led us to a table by the windows. Marissa ordered wine. We looked at menus like people on an actual date would. How do you feel? She asked. Like I'm doing something wrong. You're not. Lena doesn't own your Valentine's Day. She gave that up when she asked for a break. Still feels wrong. Good. That means you're not actually vindictive? You're just learning to play defense. The wine came. We ordered food. Around us, the restaurant hummed with conversation and laughter. Through the windows, Los Angeles spread out in a carpet of lights. Tell me about your work, Marissa said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. I want to know what a property estimator actually does. So I told her, not because she cared, but because we needed to look convincing. We ate, talked, laughed at the right moments. From the outside, we probably looked exactly like what we were pretending to be, two people enjoying each other's company on Valentine's Day. My phone rang at 8:15. Lena. I looked at Marissa. She nodded. I answered. Hey, Lena said. Her voice sounded bright, slightly breathless. I know this is unexpected, but I've been thinking all day and I can't wait until the weekend. I'm ready to get back together. Can you meet me tonight? Across from me, Marissa watched with those forensic accountant eyes. I'm actually at dinner right now, I said. Pause. Oh, okay. When you're done then. It might be late. That's fine. I'll wait up. Daniel, I've realized this break was a mistake. I do miss you. I want us back. I appreciate you saying that. So you'll come over after dinner? Where are you? At my mom's place. I can meet you at home if that's easier. Our home. Our home. Possessive again now that she wanted something. Let me think about it, I said. I'll call you after dinner. Daniel, I should go. I'm with someone. With someone? Who? I'll call you later. I hung up. Marissa raised her glass. And there it is. Right on schedule. She wants to get back together. Of course she does. Her work event probably included Victor showing up with his actual girlfriend, or maybe just made her realize what she's giving up. Doesn't matter. What matters is she thought she could walk away and you'd be sitting home waiting. I could have been. But you're not. You're here, with me, on Valentine's Day, and now she knows it. My phone buzzed. A text from Lena. Who are you with? I didn't respond. It buzzed again. Daniel? And again. Please call me back. Marissa reached across the table and took my phone, set it face down beside the wine bottle. Let her wait, she said. Let her wonder. Let her feel what it's like when someone isn't immediately available. This is cruel. This is balance. There's a difference. We finished dinner. Marissa paid despite my protests. We walked out to her car while my phone continued buzzing in my pocket. Do you want me to drop you at your place? She asked. Yeah. Are you going to call her? Eventually. Don't rush. Make her earn it. She drove me home, parked in my driveway, leaned over and kissed my cheek. That's for show, she said, looking past me at something. Don't turn around. What? Lena's here, sitting in her car across the street. She's been watching us. How do you know? Because I told her I saw you at dinner, with someone who wasn't me. She just doesn't know it's me yet. Marissa, go inside. Let her make the next move. And Daniel, whatever happens now, remember, she chose this. She wanted space. You're just giving her what she asked for. She drove away, taillights disappearing down the street. I walked to my front door without looking at Lena's car, unlocked it, went inside, closed it behind me. 5 seconds later, someone pounded on the door. I took my time answering, hung up my jacket, loosened my tie, let her knock 3 more times before I opened the door. Lena stood there in a black cocktail dress and heels, makeup perfect, hair down the way she knew I liked it. Everything about her was calculated to remind me what I'd been missing. "Who was that?" she said. "Hi, Lena. Who was in that car with you? You want to come in?" She pushed past me into the house. Our house. The one she'd left 11 days ago. "I was waiting for you to call back," she said, turning on me. "You said you'd call after dinner." "I was going to. With who? Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters. You're supposed to be." She caught herself, took a breath, reset her face into something softer. "I thought you'd be happy I called. That I was ready to work things out." "I am happy. You don't look happy. You look like you just got home from a date." "I was at dinner." "With someone from work?" "Does it matter?" "Stop saying that." "Yes, it matters." "Daniel, I came here tonight because I realized I made a mistake. This break was stupid. I don't want space. I want us." She stepped closer, put her hand on my chest the way she used to when she wanted something. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I've been confused and scared, and I handled it badly. But I know now. I know what I want. It's you. It's always been you." 3 weeks ago, those words would have meant everything. 3 weeks ago, I would have forgiven her immediately, pulled her close, pretended nothing had happened. But that was before the spreadsheets, before Santa Monica, before I'd spent 11 days learning to sleep alone. "Who's Victor Hale?" I asked. Her hand froze on my chest. "What?" "Victor Hale, senior sales executive at Media Vault Solutions. Guy whose hand is on your shoulder in that photo from November. The one you said was just a work colleague." She stepped back. "How do you know about Victor?" "Same way I know about the lunch meetings that weren't lunches. Same way I know about the Shoreline Hotel. Same way I know you've been lying to me since before Thanksgiving." Her face went through several expressions, shock, then guilt, then defensive anger, before settling on injured innocence. "You've been spying on me. You've been lying to me. I needed space to figure things out. You needed a trial run with someone else while keeping me as backup. There's a difference. That's not fair. Neither is asking me for a break when you're already seeing someone else." She stared at me like I'd turned into a stranger, like I wasn't playing my part correctly. "Victor was a mistake," she said finally. "It didn't mean anything. We never actually, we got close, but we didn't. It was just talking, just possibility. I never crossed that line." "What line?" "You know. Say it." "We didn't sleep together." "But you wanted to." She hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe. I was confused." "And the break was supposed to give you permission to stop being confused." "No, yes, I don't know. Daniel, I'm trying to be honest with you." "Now you're trying. Where was that honesty in November, December, January, all those lunch meetings I wasn't supposed to know about?" "I didn't tell you because I knew you'd overreact." "Overreact to you dating someone else while we were engaged?" "I wasn't dating him. It was just, we talked. Had coffee, dinner sometimes. It was nice having someone who—" She stopped. "Who what?" "Who thought I was exciting." There it was, the real reason underneath all the permission structures and careful lies. "And I don't," I said. "You're steady, reliable, safe. Those are good things, Daniel. They are. But sometimes I wanted—" "Victor." "No, I wanted to feel like I did something besides check boxes on a life plan. Get engaged, buy a house, have kids, grow old, like there had to be more than that." "So you found someone who made you feel like there was more." "He listened to me." "I listened to you." "You listened to solve problems. Victor listened to understand." "Victor listened because he wanted to sleep with you." Her face flushed. "That's not fair." "You're right. Let me be more fair. Victor listened because you were available, because you were engaged to someone else and therefore safe, because having an emotional connection with a woman who can't fully commit is a lot easier than actually building a real relationship." "You don't know him." "I know his type. I estimate properties for guys like Victor every week. All surface, no foundation, Looks good until you check the load-bearing walls. Now you're being cruel. No. Now I'm being honest. You want me to be honest, right? That's what this break was about. Honesty. Space to figure out what you really want. She sank onto the couch, suddenly deflated. I'm sorry, I am. I handled everything wrong. I should have talked to you instead of test driving my replacement. Don't call it that. What should I call it? She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. Real ones, probably, or real enough. I came here tonight to fix things, she said. To tell you I chose you, isn't that worth something? You chose me because Victor didn't work out, or because you got scared, or because Valentine's Day made you feel guilty, but you didn't choose me because you actually wanted me. That's not true, isn't it? You spent 3 months pursuing something else. Tonight you show up in a black dress and heels because you know that's what works on me. You say all the right words about wanting us back. But you still haven't said you love me. The tears stopped. She blinked. Of course I love you. When was the last time you said it? She opened her mouth, closed it, tried to remember. When was the last time you felt it? I asked. She stood up. This isn't fair. You're twisting everything I say. I'm just asking questions you should have asked yourself before you started seeing Victor. Before you asked for a break. Before you showed up here tonight expecting everything to go back to normal. What do you want from me, Daniel? You want me to beg? To grovel? I'm here. I'm apologizing. I'm saying I made a mistake. What else is there? Nothing. There's nothing else. Something in my voice made her stop. Made her really look at me for the first time since she'd walked through the door. What does that mean? She asked quietly. It means I think you should go. Go where? Back to your mother's, back to Victor, wherever you want, just not here. You're breaking up with me. No, you broke up with us 3 months ago. I'm just finally accepting it. But I want to fix this. You want to undo consequences. That's different. Daniel, who was at dinner with you tonight? I asked. At the client appreciation event, the Media Vault Solutions thing. She hesitated. Colleagues. Was Victor there? Yes, but with someone. Her silence answered. Let me guess, I said. He brought a date, or he spent the evening talking to someone else, or he made it clear that whatever you two had going was over now that you wanted to make it serious. So you panicked, called me, decided I was the better option after all. It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like. She couldn't. She stood there in my living room in her black dress and her perfect makeup, and she couldn't tell me why she'd chosen tonight to suddenly need me back. I should go, she said finally. Yeah. She walked to the door, stopped with her hand on the handle. I did love you, she said without turning around. I still do. I just don't know if it's the right kind anymore. I know. I'm sorry. Me too. She left. I watched through the window as she walked to her car, got in, sat there for a long moment before starting the engine. Her headlights swept across my front yard as she pulled away. I stood there after she was gone, feeling nothing and everything at once. My phone buzzed. Marissa. How'd it go? She left. You okay? I don't know yet. Want company? Not tonight. All right. But Daniel, that thing you did tonight, standing your ground, that's the first step. Everything else comes easier after this. She hung up. I went upstairs and changed out of my suit. Lay down on my bed and stared at the ceiling. The house was quiet again, but this time the silence felt different, less like absence and more like space opening up. Around midnight, I got up and made coffee, opened my laptop, started a new spreadsheet. Timeline, Phase 2, because I'd spent the last 11 days documenting how everything fell apart. Now it was time to document what happened next. Friday morning, I called Evan. You busy? I asked. Always. What do you need? Information on Victor Hale. He was quiet. This about Lena? About the guy she was seeing. I want to understand him. You sure about this? No, but I'm doing it anyway. I gave him the details. Sales executive, Media Vault Solutions, USC educated. Drove something expensive, probably leased. Sounds like a tool, Evan said. Give me a day. That afternoon I drove to Century City, parked across from Media Vault's building and watched. At 5:45, Victor appeared. Tall, fit, good suit. That practiced confidence of someone who'd learned to fake it until it became real. A silver Audi pulled out 10 minutes later. I noted the license plate and went home. Evan called that evening. Your guy's a regular at my buddy's detailing shop. Brings the Audi in monthly. Talks about women like trophies. He's leveraged. Car lease. Expensive apartment in Culver City stretching his budget. All show, no foundation. Thanks. Saturday, I drove to Culver City. Found Victor's building. 12-story complex. Covered parking. I parked down the street and observed. Around noon, Victor appeared in gym clothes. Jogged toward a park, returned 40 minutes later, still perfectly composed. I drove home and added notes to my spreadsheet. Sunday morning, Lena texted, "Can we talk?" I waited until noon to reply. Coffee tomorrow, the place in Silver Lake. Monday at noon, I met Lena at the cafe. She looked tired, real. Thank you for meeting me. You said you needed closure. I need to explain. Thursday, I was emotional. I wasn't using you as backup. I was genuinely confused. Past tense, I said. You said what we had. She looked down. I guess I did. So what do you want? I want you to understand I never meant to hurt you. And did you figure yourself out? I think so. I'm not ready for what we were building. It felt like a cage. Victor felt like freedom. But that's over now. What happened? Thursday night at that event, he barely acknowledged me. I realized I'd built up a fantasy that was never real. Welcome to my world, she flinched. I deserved that. I'm sorry, Daniel, for all of it. You done? I asked. What? Your apology? Are you done? She stared at me. You're really angry. No, I'm tired. Tired of being the safety net while you jumped without looking. What do you want me to do? Nothing. We're done. Consider it closed. I stood up and left. That evening, Victor updated his LinkedIn. Excited to announce I'm speaking at the SoCal Sales Summit next month. Topics: building authentic client relationships and sustainable growth strategies. Building authentic relationships. I saved the post. Kept building the map of who Victor Hale pretended to be. Tuesday morning, I called the SoCal Sales Summit registration line. I'd like to attend Victor Hale's workshop on authentic client relationships, I said. Limited seating, standard conference pass is $500. I'll take it. I registered, marked it on my calendar. Wednesday afternoon, I drove to Culver City, waited near Victor's apartment. At 6:15, his Audi appeared. 10 minutes later, he emerged in running clothes. Same route as Saturday. I walked to the Audi, took photos of the license plate, registration sticker, parking permit. Nothing illegal, just documentation. Victor returned 30 minutes later. I was back in my car, watching. Thursday, I picked up my car from the detailing shop. Your friend's brother stopped by, the owner said. Wanted to know about the Audi guy. I told him what I told you. Nice car, tight budget, lots of image maintenance. What did you tell Evan? That the Audi guy isn't as solid as he looks. One bad quarter and his lifestyle collapses. I walked to a coffee shop, opened my laptop. The spreadsheet had grown complex. Dates, locations, patterns, vulnerabilities. Victor Hale was built on perception. Remove the perception, and what remained? Marissa showed up 20 minutes later. Lunch? She asked, sitting down. Can't. Just picked up my car. You look like you're planning something. Always planning. She leaned back. Lena called yesterday. Said you were cold at coffee. Was I supposed to be warm? She expected you to still care. I do care. That's why I'm being careful about making sure certain people understand that actions have consequences. You're talking about Victor. I'm talking about systems, about what happens when you remove supporting structures. Marissa studied me. You're going to do something. I'm going to observe, document, apply pressure in the right places. Nothing illegal. That's how people get in trouble. Only if they go too far. How do you know where too far is? Because I'm an estimator. I know how to calculate load limits. She sighed. Daniel, revenge isn't actually satisfying. It just makes you someone different than who you were. Maybe different is better. Just promise me you'll think before you act. Always do. She left. I sat there thinking about her warning, about escalation, about lines you can't uncross. Friday I went back to work. Long Beach property assessment. Let the familiar work clear my head. That evening Evan called. You need to back off, he said. Whatever you're doing with the Audi guy, he's got friends. Some aren't the type to ignore someone poking around. I'm just observing. You're building a case. If you keep going, someone's going to notice. I know what I'm doing. Do you? This isn't a property estimate. You can't calculate everything and expect it to work mathematically. I'm in control. That's what everyone says before they lose it. He hung up. Saturday morning, I drove to Victor's apartment. He left at 10 for brunch in Venice with two guys who looked like salesmen. They laughed, posted photos. Victor paid for everyone. Image, always image. After brunch, Victor got his car detailed in Westwood, stood there supervising, checked his phone constantly, building authentic relationships. I took photos of his car, the parking permit, the registration sticker expiring next month, documentation, the foundation of any solid assessment. Sunday morning, Lena texted, "I'm moving back to Seattle." "When?" I replied. "End of the month. Better opportunity, fresh start." "Congratulations." "Will you help me move?" "No." "Right, sorry." "Good luck in Seattle." I put my phone down, looked at my spreadsheet, all the careful documentation of Victor's patterns. Lena was leaving, running to Seattle. But Victor was staying, learning nothing. That needed to change. Monday morning, I called Media Vault Solutions. "This is Daniel Cross," I told the receptionist. "I'm interested in your enterprise solutions. Could I schedule a consultation with one of your senior sales executives?" "Certainly. Let me check availability." Keyboard sounds, professional hold music. "I can get you in with Victor Hale on Thursday at 2 p.m. Would that work?" "Perfect. May I ask what type of property you manage?" "Commercial, multi-tenant, looking to upgrade our client management systems." "Excellent. Mr. Hale specializes in complex implementations. You're in good hands." I hung up and marked the appointment on my calendar. Tuesday, I drove to Century City, not to Media Vault's office, to the parking structure across the street, found a spot with a view of the entrance. At 12:15, Victor emerged with two colleagues. They walked to a restaurant 1 block over. I followed at a distance, watched them through the window, business lunch. Victor did most of the talking, made everyone laugh, picked up the check. They returned to the office at 1:30. Victor's colleagues went inside. Victor stayed on the sidewalk, checking his phone, smiling at something. A woman approached him, mid-20s, professional attire. They talked for 5 minutes. She laughed at something he said, touched his arm. He gave her his business card. Always networking, always performing. I took a photo, not for any specific reason, just documentation. Wednesday morning, Evan showed up at my house. "We need to talk," he said, walking past me into the living room. "About?" "About you losing your mind." He turned to face me. "I heard you scheduled a meeting with Victor Hale." "How did you?" "Because I called his office pretending to be your assistant, confirming the appointment." "Daniel, what are you doing?" "Research." "Research for what?" "For understanding how he operates, what his pitch sounds like, how he builds trust with clients before he takes advantage of them." "You're not a client." "He doesn't know that." "And when he finds out? When he realizes you're the fiancée of the woman he was seeing? What happens then?" "Nothing. I ask questions. He gives answers. I leave." Evan stared at me. "You're going to confront him." "I'm going to meet him." "Same thing." "No, confrontation implies emotion. This is just information gathering. You're rationalizing. I'm being methodical. You're being obsessive. There's a difference." Evan sat down on my couch. "Look, I get it. You got hurt. You want someone to pay for that. But this isn't the way." "What is the way? Let them both walk away like nothing happened? Pretend I'm fine with being treated like a placeholder?" "No, you move on. You build something better. You don't waste time trying to punish people who don't care if you're angry." "Victor should care." "Why? He doesn't know you, doesn't owe you anything. To him, Lena was just another woman. You think showing up in his office is going to make him suddenly realize he did something wrong? Maybe. It won't. It'll just make you look unstable. And if you push too hard, he'll call security. Or the police. And then your careful documentation becomes evidence of harassment." I sat down across from him. "I'm not harassing anyone." "Not yet, but you're walking right up to that line. And once you cross it, there's no walking back." "I won't cross it." "You don't know that. People never think they'll cross it. They think they'll maintain control, stay logical, keep perspective. And then something happens. Someone says the wrong thing, pushes back when they should back down, and suddenly you're in a place you never meant to go." "I'm not you, Evan." He looked at me sharply. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I know how to control myself. I'm not going to snap and do something I regret." I didn't snap. I reacted to a situation that got out of hand, and I've spent the last 10 years making sure I never let that happen again. He leaned forward. "You think you're different? You think being smart means you won't lose control? Ask yourself, 6 weeks ago, would you have been taking photos of some guy's car, following his schedule, setting up fake business meetings just to see his face? That's different." "How?" "Because I'm gathering information, not acting on it. Yet." We sat there in silence. Outside, a neighbor's dog barked. Traffic hummed on the main road. Normal Tuesday sounds for a normal Tuesday that didn't feel normal anymore. "Cancel the meeting," Evan said finally. "No." "Daniel?" "I need to see him. Need to understand what Lena saw. Why she chose him over 3 years of stability." "She didn't choose him. She chose the idea of him. That's different." "Same result." Evan stood up. "I can't stop you. But I'm telling you right now, you go to that meeting, you're going to regret it. Not because of what he'll do, because of what you'll realize about yourself." "Which is?" "That you've become someone you don't recognize." He left. I sat there on my couch, listening to his truck start and drive away. That evening I reviewed my notes. The spreadsheet had become a map of Victor Hale's entire public existence, where he lived, where he worked, where he ate lunch, where he went to stay fit and maintain the image that kept his career afloat. Everything documented, everything analyzed, everything ready. Thursday morning, I dressed in my best suit, the one I wore for important client meetings, checked my appearance in the mirror, looked like someone legitimate, someone Victor would want to impress. At 1:30, I drove to Century City, parked in visitor parking, took the elevator to Media Vault's floor. The reception area was all glass and chrome, corporate art on the walls, young woman at the desk with a headset and perfect smile. "Daniel Cross," I said, 2 p.m. with Victor Hale. "Of course. Please have a seat. He'll be right with you." I sat on a leather couch, watched employees move through the open floor plan beyond the reception area, sales teams in glass conference rooms, account managers at standing desks, the machinery of modern business. At 2:05, Victor appeared. He looked exactly like his photos. Tall, fit, expensive suit that fit perfectly, hair styled with just enough product to look natural, that practiced smile people develop when their income depends on being likable. "Daniel Cross?" he said, extending his hand. I stood, shook it. His grip was firm, confident, the handshake of someone who'd been trained to make strong first impressions. "Thanks for meeting with me," I said. "My pleasure. Follow me to my office." He led me through the floor plan. People looked up. Some nodded. Victor was clearly someone who mattered here, someone people noticed. His office had a view. Not corner office, but close. Desk clean except for a laptop and a framed photo of himself at some sales conference, holding a trophy. "So," he said, settling into his chair while I sat across from him. "Tell me about your property management needs." "I manage several commercial properties in the valley. We're looking to upgrade our tenant communication systems, streamline operations. Your company came highly recommended." "We do great work in that space. How many tenants are we talking about?" "Across all properties? About 200 units." His eyes lit up. 200 units meant substantial revenue potential. "That's significant. We definitely want to customize a solution for you. Before we dive into specifics, though, tell me about your current pain points. What's not working?" "Communication breakdown, mostly. Tenants feel disconnected from management. We need better systems for building trust." "Trust is everything," Victor said, leaning forward. "Our entire platform is built around authentic engagement, making people feel heard, valued, like they matter." "Important qualities." "Absolutely. In my experience, clients don't just want service. They want relationships. They want to know the person on the other end actually cares about their needs. Even when those needs are complicated?" "Especially then. Complicated situations are where real relationships get built, where you prove you're not just another vendor, that you're actually invested in their success." He was good, charismatic, believable. If I didn't know what he'd done, I might have trusted him completely. "What about situations where clients have competing priorities?" I asked. "Where they're not sure what they actually want?" "That's where we shine. We help clarify, offer perspective. Sometimes clients think they want one thing when they actually need something else entirely." "And you help them see that?" "That's the job. That's what authentic relationships are about. Helping people understand their own needs better. Must be rewarding." "It is, especially when you see someone make a breakthrough. When they realize what they actually want was right there all along, they just needed someone to point it out." I nodded slowly. "So you're basically in the business of changing people's minds." "I'd say illuminating, helping them see clearly." "Same result, though. They end up somewhere different than where they started." "But happier. That's the key. They end up happier." "Do they?" Something in my tone made him pause. "I think so, yeah. Most of the time." "What about the ones who don't? The ones who follow your advice and end up worse off than before. He laughed uncomfortably. I'm not sure I follow. I leaned back in my chair. Let me ask you about a specific situation. Theoretical, of course. Say you meet someone who's engaged, who's building a life with someone stable but maybe not exciting, and you offer them something different, something that feels more alive, more immediate. Would you say that's helping them see clearly, or is it just taking advantage of confusion? His smile faded. I think we should get back to discussing your property needs. I don't actually manage properties, Victor. What? I estimate them, I calculate value, load capacity, structural integrity. I'm very good at seeing what's real and what's just surface appearance. He stood up. I think this meeting is over. Sit down. Excuse me? I said sit down. We're not finished. I don't know who you are, but I'm Daniel Cross, Lena's fiancé. Or I was, until she took a break to see if she missed me, which really meant taking a break to try you on for size. The color drained from his face. You need to leave. In a minute. First, I want you to understand something. Lena made her choices, she asked for space, she pursued you, that's on her. But you knew she was engaged. You knew what you were doing. And you did it anyway because it was convenient. Because she was available without being available. Because you could have all the benefits of a relationship without any of the commitment. I don't have to listen to this? No, you don't. You could call security right now. Tell them some crazy guy is in your office. Get me escorted out. That would be the smart play. Then why don't you think I'll do it? Because you're curious. Because part of you wants to know how this ends. And because you're probably wondering if I know more than I'm saying. He stood there, hand halfway to his desk phone. She told me everything, I said. The lunch meetings, the dinners, the Shoreline Hotel, the client appreciation event where you made it clear you weren't interested in anything serious, where you let her watch you flirt with other women while she stood there realizing she'd traded stability for nothing. We didn't actually. Doesn't matter. You helped her convince herself she wanted out, that I wasn't enough, that there was something better waiting. And then when she believed it, when she was ready to commit to that choice, you backed away. Told her it was just fun, just possibility, nothing real. It wasn't real. For you, but it was real for her. Real enough that she ended our relationship. Real enough that she spent 3 months lying to me while building a fantasy around you. That's not my fault. No. But it's your responsibility. You don't get to play with people and pretend there's no consequence. You don't get to help destroy something and walk away clean. What do you want from me? Nothing. There's nothing you have that I want. I just wanted you to see me, to know that I exist, that I'm not some abstract obstacle. I'm the person whose life you helped dismantle because it was convenient, because Lena was interested and you were bored. He moved to his office door, opened it. You need to leave now. I'm going. But Victor, one more thing. That sales summit next month? Where you're speaking about building authentic relationships. I registered. Front row. I want to hear all about trust and transparency from someone who helped someone else lie to their partner for 3 months. His jaw clenched. Don't show up there. Why not? It's a public event. I paid for my ticket. I'll have security remove you. On what grounds? Attending a conference I registered for? That might hurt your image. People might wonder why you're so nervous about someone sitting in your workshop. You're insane. No, I'm just paying attention, documenting, building a complete picture. Same thing you do with clients, right? Understanding patterns, knowing pressure points, finding vulnerabilities. I walked past him into the hallway. Stay away from me, he called after me. I didn't respond, just walked through the media vault floor plan, past the sales teams and account managers, through reception, into the elevator, down to the parking structure. My hands were shaking, heart pounding. That wasn't how I'd planned it. I'd meant to stay calm, clinical, just gather information and leave. But seeing him there, hearing him talk about authentic relationships and building trust, watching him perform the same routine that had convinced Lena I wasn't enough, something had broken open. I sat in my car for 20 minutes before I trusted myself to drive. When I finally pulled out onto the street, my phone rang. Evan. Where are you? He asked. Heading home? You went to the meeting. Yeah. And? And I confronted him. How bad? Bad enough. I didn't touch him, didn't threaten him, just made sure he knew I existed, that there were consequences for what he did. Daniel, I know, but it's done now. It's not done. You just made it worse. You put yourself on his radar. If anything happens to him now, anything at all, you're the first person they'll look at. Nothing's going to happen to him. You don't know that. I hung up. Drove home, parked in my driveway, and sat there looking at my house. The house I'd lived in with Lena. The house we were supposed to fill with kids someday. The house that now just held me and spreadsheets full of documentation. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Stay away from me. If you contact me again, I'm getting a restraining order. Victor. I deleted the message, went inside, made dinner, ate mechanically while staring at nothing. Around 9 p.m., someone knocked on my door. I opened it. Marissa stood there with a bottle of wine and a look that said she knew everything. Evan called me, she said. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She walked into the living room, set the wine on the coffee table, turned to face me. You're imploding, she said. I'm fine. You confronted Victor at his office. I had a conversation. You showed up at his workplace under false pretenses and made him uncomfortable enough to threaten a restraining order. That's not a conversation. That's harassment. He helped ruin my relationship. And now you're ruining your life. Congratulations. You're even. I sank onto the couch. I just needed him to know. Know what? That you're angry, that you hurt? You think that matters to him? You think it changes anything? It changes how I feel. Does it? Do you feel better right now? I didn't answer. Marissa sat beside me. Daniel, I'm going to be honest with you. What you did today crossed a line. And I say that as someone who encouraged you to stand up for yourself on Valentine's Day. But this is different. This isn't standing up. This is hunting. I'm not hunting anyone. Then what do you call documenting someone's schedule, following their routines, showing up at their office to make them uncomfortable? You're building a case against someone who doesn't even know why you're angry. He knows. No, he knows now. After you told him? But before that, he probably barely remembered Lena's name. You were a footnote in his life, a minor complication that solved itself when she moved to Seattle. She's moving to Seattle? Didn't she tell you? Yeah, but I thought I had more time to... To what? Get revenge? Make them pay? Daniel, they're both gone. Lena's starting over. Victor's moved on to whoever's next. The only person still living in this moment is you. I put my head in my hands. I can't let it go. Yes, you can. You just don't want to. Same thing. No. One's a choice. The other's an excuse. She opened the wine, poured 2 glasses, handed me one. Here's what's going to happen, she said. You're going to drink this wine, then you're going to sleep. Tomorrow you're going to delete every spreadsheet, every photo, every note you've made about Victor Hale. You're going to cancel that sales summit registration, and you're going to start acting like someone who has better things to do than destroy people who aren't worth the effort. What if I can't? Then you'll end up in a place you can't come back from, and I'll visit you there because we're friends now. But I won't feel sorry for you because you'll have chosen it. We drank in silence. The wine was good, too good for what it was washing down. Around midnight, Marissa left. I cleaned up, went upstairs, lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed. Unknown number again. I filed a police report. If you come near me or contact me again, there will be consequences. Victor, making sure I understood. I turned off my phone, closed my eyes, tried to sleep, but all I could see was Victor's face in his office. That moment when he realized who I was. When his performance cracked and something real showed through. Fear. He'd been afraid of me. And part of me, the part I didn't want to acknowledge, had liked it. Friday morning, I woke up to my phone ringing. Evan. Don't say anything, he said when I answered. Just listen. Someone vandalized Victor Hale's car last night. Slashed tires, keyed the doors, broke the windshield, and guess whose name came up when he filed the police report? My stomach dropped. I didn't touch his car. I know, but you've been following him, taking photos, showing up at his office, and now his car's destroyed the day after you confronted him. How do you think that looks? I was home all night. Can you prove it? I was alone. That's not proof. That's opportunity. He paused. 2 detectives are going to call you. Maybe today, maybe Monday. When they do, don't talk without a lawyer. I didn't do anything. Doesn't matter. You established a pattern. Built a motive. Put yourself in his life right before something happened to his property. From their perspective, you're the obvious suspect. He hung up. I sat there on my bed, trying to process what he'd said. Someone had destroyed Victor's car. And everyone would assume it was me, because I'd been stupid enough to confront him, to let him know I existed, to make threats about showing up at his conference. I'd built the case against myself. Around 10 a.m., my doorbell rang. I looked through the window. 2 people in plain clothes, detective badges visible on their belts. I didn't answer. They knocked again. Waited. One of them put a business card in my door frame. They left. I grabbed the card. Detective Sarah Kim, LAPD. A phone number. A note written on the back. Please call to discuss an incident involving Victor Hale. I threw the card on my kitchen counter and paced my living room. I hadn't touched his car, hadn't been near his apartment, had stayed home like Marissa told me to. But I couldn't prove it. Had no alibi, no witnesses, nothing except my word against a documented pattern of following and confronting him. My phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. It rang again. Different number. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail transcription appeared. Mr. Cross, this is Detective Kim with LAPD. We'd like to speak with you regarding an incident of property damage. Please return my call at your earliest convenience. I deleted it. 30 minutes later, Marissa showed up without knocking. Just walked into my house like she had every right to be there. We need to talk, she said. I didn't do it. I know, but someone did, and they timed it perfectly to make you look guilty. What are you talking about? Think about it, Daniel. You confront Victor on Thursday afternoon. That night his car gets destroyed. It's too convenient, too perfect. You think he did it himself? I think someone who understands insurance claims and documented harassment might see an opportunity. File a police report, build a case, make you look dangerous, maybe even sue for damages. That's insane. Is it? Victor's whole life is about image and perception. You threatened both, showed up at his workplace, made him look vulnerable in front of colleagues, promised to humiliate him at a conference. People like that don't just accept humiliation. So he destroyed his own car to frame me? Or hired someone to? Doesn't matter. What matters is you're now officially a suspect in a criminal investigation, which means every stupid thing you've done for the past month is about to become evidence. I sat down. The walls felt like they were closing in. What do? I asked. First, you call a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. A good one. Someone who handles harassment cases and restraining orders. Second, you stop talking to anyone about this. Not Evan, not me, not the detectives, nobody. That makes me look guilty. No, that makes you smart. Because right now they're gathering evidence, building a timeline, interviewing witnesses, and anything you say will be used to support whatever narrative they're constructing. I didn't do anything illegal. Following someone, taking photos of their car, showing up at their workplace under false pretenses, that's stalking in California. Add in the property damage, even though you didn't do it, and you're looking at a restraining order minimum. Possibly criminal charges if they can build a case. My phone rang again. Detective Kim. Marissa grabbed it from my hand, turned it off. Not a word, she said. Not until you have representation. That afternoon, I called 3 lawyers, left messages with their offices, waited. Saturday morning, I got a call back from someone named James Abbott. Criminal defense. Handled harassment and stalking cases. Available for an emergency consultation that afternoon. I met him at his office in Pasadena. Small practice, framed degrees on the wall, coffee that tasted like it had been sitting since morning. Tell me everything, Abbott said, sitting across from me with a yellow legal pad. I did. All of it. The break, the discovery, the documentation, the confrontation, the vandalism I didn't commit. He took notes without judgment. When I finished, he looked up. But you're not a criminal, at least not yet. He flipped through his notes. Here's what we're dealing with. You established a pattern of following Mr. Hale, documented his movements, created false pretenses to gain access to his workplace, made him feel threatened enough to file a police report, and then his property was damaged within hours of your confrontation. I didn't damage his property. Doesn't matter. The circumstantial case is strong enough that they could charge you. Probably won't. No direct evidence, no witnesses. But they could. So what do? Stop. Completely. Delete everything related to Mr. Hale. Every photo, every note, every spreadsheet. If the detectives show up with a warrant, they won't find anything that makes you look worse than you already do. What about the police? I'll handle them. Tell them you're represented. That you had no involvement in the vandalism. That you were home alone that night. They'll push for more, but we'll give them nothing. Eventually, they'll move on or charge you. My guess is move on. No evidence means no case. And the restraining order? He'll probably file for one. We'll fight it. Show that while your behavior was inappropriate, it didn't constitute a credible threat. You never touched him, never threatened violence, just made him uncomfortable. Judges see that differently than actual stalking. What if I lose? Then you stay 500 feet away from him for a year and move on with your life, which is what you should have done a month ago. I hired him, paid the retainer, left his office feeling slightly less like my world was ending. Sunday I spent deleting everything, the spreadsheets, the photos, the notes, the timeline, every piece of documentation I'd built over weeks of obsessive attention. It felt like erasing myself, like admitting defeat. But Marissa was right. I'd become someone I didn't recognize, someone who followed people, who built cases against them, who confronted them at their workplace, someone dangerous. Monday morning, Evan showed up with coffee. "You look like hell," he said, handing me a cup. "Feel worse." "Lawyer?" "Hired." "Good. That's good." He sat on my couch. "You going to be okay?" "Don't know yet." "You want my opinion?" "Not really. I'm giving it anyway. You got lucky. This could have been worse, way worse. If you'd actually done what everyone thinks you did, you'd be looking at jail time. But you didn't. You just scared yourself into realizing how far you'd gone. That's not luck." "Sure it is. You could have kept going, could have actually done something that couldn't be undone, but you stopped, right at the edge. That's either luck or some part of you that's smarter than the part that was following Victor around. Doesn't feel smart. Smart never feels smart in the moment. It just keeps you out of jail." We drank coffee in silence. Outside, the neighborhood went about its Monday morning routine. People leaving for work, dogs getting walked, normal life continuing regardless of personal disasters. "Lena called me," Evan said eventually. I looked at him. "When?" "Yesterday. Wanted to know if you were okay. Said she heard about the police investigation from Victor." "What did you tell her?" "That you were fine, that it was a misunderstanding, that she should focus on Seattle and stop checking up on situations she created." "How'd she take that?" "Said she never meant for things to get this complicated, that she just wanted everyone to be happy. I told her happiness isn't something you create by destroying other people's stability." "She say anything else?" "Asked if you hated her. I said you probably should, but you're too decent for that. Which might be true. Hard to tell anymore." I finished my coffee. "I don't hate her. What do you feel?" "Nothing. I'm just tired." Evan nodded. "That's progress. Better than anger." He left. I sat there alone in my house, thinking about everything that had led me to this moment. A break, a confrontation, a crime I didn't commit, a legal situation I couldn't avoid, all because I'd wanted someone to understand consequences. Tuesday afternoon, my lawyer called. "Good news," Abbott said. "The detectives aren't pursuing charges. No evidence, no witnesses, no case." "What about the restraining order?" "Victor filed yesterday. We have a hearing next week. But between us, he's going to withdraw it." "Why?" "Because I had an interesting conversation with his lawyer. Asked some questions about insurance claims, about convenient timing, about what it might look like if we subpoenaed his company's security footage and found out his car was damaged in his own parking structure where cameras are allegedly broken. Funny how those things happen." "You think he did it?" "I think his lawyer thinks he might have, and that's enough to make this go away. Nobody wants a civil investigation into fraud when they're trying to look like a victim." "So it's over? The legal part is? The stupid part? That's up to you." He hung up. I sat there processing what he'd said. Victor had probably destroyed his own car, created evidence to make me look dangerous, built a narrative where he was the victim, and it almost worked. Thursday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. "I'm withdrawing the restraining order. Stay away from me, and we're done. Victor." I didn't respond. Just deleted the message and blocked the number. That afternoon, I drove to Evan's shop. Found him under a Subaru. "It's over," I said. He rolled out. "Yeah?" "Yeah. Lawyer says the detectives dropped it. Victor withdrew the restraining order. I'm clear." "How do you feel?" "Ugh, like I wasted a month being angry." "Better late than never." I helped him finish the brake job. We didn't talk about Lena or Victor or anything related to the past 6 weeks, just worked on the car until it ran properly. Around 6, Marissa showed up at the shop. "Heard you're in the clear," she said. "News travels fast." Evan texted me. He said you might need someone to make sure you don't do anything stupid to celebrate. I'm done doing stupid things. That's what everyone says. She looked at me carefully. "You really okay?" "I will be, eventually." "Good. Because I like you, Daniel. The you from before all this. The one who was patient and careful and didn't follow people around with cameras. That person still exists? Probably. Under all the anger and obsession. Just needs time to recover." That weekend, I cleaned out my house. packed up the last of Lena's things, donated her books, threw away her toiletries, stripped the bedroom and washed everything, made the space mine again. Monday morning, I went back to work, drove to a property assessment in Ontario, measured rooms, checked foundations, ran numbers, let the familiar routine pull me back into normal life. My phone rang at lunch. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Daniel? Lena's voice, hesitant. I hope it's okay I'm calling. It's fine. I heard about what happened with Victor, the police. Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm sorry. I didn't think things would... It's over, Lena. All of it. I know. I just wanted to say, before I moved to Seattle, I wanted you to know that you deserved better. Better than me. Better than how I handled everything. I know. You're not angry. I was, for a while. But I'm tired of being angry. It didn't change anything except make me someone I didn't like. I really am sorry. I know. Good luck in Seattle. I hung up before she could say anything else. 2 weeks later, I was at a property site in Riverside when I saw the post. Victor Hale had been let go from Media Vault Solutions. No explanation. Just a LinkedIn update saying he was exploring new opportunities. I stared at it for a long moment, then closed the app. Not my problem, not my concern, not my business anymore. A month after that, Marissa called. Dinner? She said. Actual dinner. Not fake date dinner, just two friends eating food. Why? Because I miss having conversations with someone who isn't trying to hide assets or commit fraud. You're refreshingly honest for someone who spent weeks stalking his ex's boyfriend. I didn't stalk him. You absolutely did, but I'm willing to overlook it if you buy dessert. We met at a place in Los Feliz. Nothing fancy, just good food and better wine. How are you, really? She asked over pasta. Getting there. Some days are harder than others, but I'm working, sleeping, living. Dating? Not yet. Eventually? Maybe, when I'm ready to trust people again? That could take a while. Probably, but I've got time. We finished dinner, split dessert, talked about normal things like normal people having a normal evening. When she dropped me off at my house, I stood in the driveway looking at the place I'd shared with Lena, the place that had stopped feeling like home somewhere between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. But it was starting to again, slowly, room by room, day by day. I went inside, made coffee, opened my laptop, started working on a new property assessment. My phone buzzed. Text from Evan. You good? Yeah, I typed back. I'm good. And for the first time in months, I almost meant it. 3 months later, I was at a property site in Glendale when I saw him. Victor Hale, walking out of a real estate office. Different suit, cheaper, hair less styled, that careful image starting to show cracks. He saw me at the same time, froze. We stood there on opposite sides of the parking lot, two men who'd briefly intersected in the worst way possible. I could have said something, could have made it mean something, could have turned it into a moment. But I was tired of moments, tired of making things matter that didn't. I nodded once, a simple acknowledgement, then got in my car and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw him standing there, still frozen, still trying to figure out if he should be worried. But I was already gone, already thinking about the next job, the next estimate, the next thing that actually mattered. Lena had wanted a break to see if she missed me. She got one, and I'd learned the only thing worth missing was the version of myself I'd been before I let anger make my decisions. That version was coming back, slowly, carefully, one day at a time, and that was enough.